Number three, Germany's red light streets. Walk through this gate and you're basically entering Hamburg's dim light district. In the daytime, filming is usually fine. People are just walking around, grabbing coffee, living normal life. But at night, it changes fast. Security will step in and remind you immediately. And if anyone is actually working, you can't film them. When the lights come on, this place gets busy in a way that's hard to describe until you see it. Now, here's what makes Germany feel different from most countries. In Germany, adult work is legal and clearly regulated, so people in that industry don't automatically live outside the law. In fact, they can pursue legal rights like other workers, things like fair pay, social insurance, health insurance, and unemployment benefits, depending on their work status and registration. It sounds almost funny saying it out loud, but the point is simple. Germany treats it like a regulated job, not a hidden crime. And once the system became more transparent, the scene didn't disappear. It actually became more structured. Work can happen day or night, including weekends, and it can look like any other shift-based gig. Part-time, peak hours, and steady schedules, with people choosing it because at least they know where they stand legally. Germany is also strict about where these services can operate. It's usually limited to designated areas, with clear rules tied to public safety, so it's not just popping up everywhere. Rights are calculated in a standardized way, competition stays more controlled, and if someone is unfairly harassed or discriminated against, they can seek legal protection. And yes, Germany can get so systematic that it feels unreal. For example, in cities like Bonn, you may hear about licensed zones using ticket-style machines, where workers buy a work ticket before a shift, almost like buying a bus ticket, because local rules require proof you're operating within the allowed system. No ticket can mean warnings or fines under local regulations. Be honest, after hearing this, would you want to visit Germany just to see one of these districts with your own eyes? Drop 3 in the comments if you would. Number 4, the English garden that doesn't feel like Germany. For all the rules, schedules, and heavy city energy, Germany has a place that feels almost like a soft reset button. Englischer Garten, the English garden, right in the heart of Munich. What's funny is the name. You hear English garden and you expect something small, polite, maybe a few flowers and a fence? Nope. This is one of the largest urban parks in the world, so big that once you're inside, Munich's buildings start to disappear, and it feels like you've walked out of the city without ever leaving it. Locals treat it like their backyard, running, biking, picnicking, napping, playing music, and just hanging out for hours like time isn't chasing them. And here's a detail that surprises first-timers. Women here casually sunbathe, wade in the shallow streams, or relax on the grass in bikinis, even though this is right in the city, not a beach. Then you hit the park's wait what moment, the Eisbach wave. It's a standing wave in a stream where surfers ride year-round. Yes, surfing in Munich. You'll see people in wetsuits taking turns like it's a skate park, while tourists stand there trying to process how this is a normal Tuesday. And of course, it wouldn't be Munich without beer gardens. Under big chestnut trees, people sit with a beer, eat something simple, and watch the park life roll by. It's social, relaxed, and weirdly peaceful for a major European city. So if Munich can surprise you in daylight, the next stop might surprise your stomach even more. Number 5, Germany's strangest street foods. If Italians shock the world with maggot cheese, Germany answers with something just as wild, Milbenkäse, also known as mite cheese. This is one of the strangest cheeses on earth, coming from the Saxony-Anhalt region and documented as far back as 1540, meaning it has existed for nearly 500 years. Milbenkäse is still handmade today in only 2 villages, Röchwitz and Milben. What makes it infamous is the aging process. The cheese is deliberately aged with tens of thousands of live cheese mites crawling all over the surface. These mites are microscopic arthropods, just fractions of a millimeter in size. They do not bite, do not suck blood, and are completely different from ticks, even though many people confuse the two. The cheese is aged for at least 3 months, sometimes up to 12 months. During fermentation, the mites feed on the outer layer and release enzymes that ripen the cheese. After about 1 month, the rind turns yellow. By 3 months, it becomes reddish-brown and with longer aging, almost black. A single small piece can host around 50,000 mites, and yes, they are eaten together with the cheese. Price-wise, this is not cheap at all. Converted to U.S. currency, it can cost over $20 for less than 11 ounces, making it more expensive than many premium cheeses. Many people hesitate, because eating Milbenkase means eating thousands of live mites at the same time. Beyond this extreme cheese, German street food is just as impressive. Bratwurst, Germany's iconic grilled sausage, is cooked by the dozens over charcoal grills and served hot inside crusty bread with mustard or sauce. At Christmas markets, Brombrot steals the spotlight. A flatbread baked until crispy, topped with cream, onions, bacon, and sometimes cheese. Another crowd favorite is raclette, where massive wheels of cheese are heated until molten, then scraped directly onto potatoes, bread, pickles, or sausage. Watching it melt feels more like watching noodles being served than cheese. You will also spot Baumkuchen, a traditional layered cake baked on a rotating spit, forming rings like tree trunks. Each layer is added one by one until the cake reaches perfect thickness, then sliced and served with sauces. And for hearty winter food, Grünkohl mit Leberwurst delivers thick stewed kale, cooked with fat, onions, and sausage, filling, rich, and unapologetically heavy. Number 6. The dark side of Germany. Can you believe that in Europe's one economy, there are more than 500,000 people without stable housing, and some end up sleeping outside when it's around -4 degrees Celsius? That's the Germany most tourists never expect, and here's a story you'll see in real life. Some elderly people say their pension isn't enough to cover rent and daily costs anymore, so they end up begging in and around subway and rail lines, places like Berlin's Zoo Station, then heading straight to free food distribution points. The logic is painfully practical. The more food you can get for free, the less you have to beg for cash. In big cities, you'll still notice people sleeping near stations, in doorways or under bridges. And one rule matters. Many unhoused people hate being filmed. If you point a camera at them, you can get confronted fast, so the smart move is simple. Don't record them. Don't treat hardship like content. A lot of people in this situation are also from Eastern Europe, unemployed or stuck with unstable work, and some are dealing with addiction, past violence, or mental health issues. The hardest part is that many aren't lazy or criminal. They're simply stuck in a loop they can't break quickly. What also surprises foreigners is how Germans respond. In some places, people keep distance. Privacy is a big cultural thing, so you might see locals walk past without eye contact. But there are also charities, soup kitchens, and street outreach groups that do steady work, especially in winter, handing out hot drinks, blankets, and helping people find shelters. And then there's Berlin, which can shock visitors for another reason. For a capital, the mess can feel unusually visible. Trash piling up in public areas and graffiti covering walls almost everywhere. Berlin changes fast, but sometimes it doesn't feel like it's changing in the right direction. And if you think that contrast is wild, wait until you
È sempre bello tornare a casa, sia raccogliendo consulenza prodotti, roba anti-world revolution, la sua azione continuamente capiti in fresca e pittura al lungo. Così, grazie ad Abicur, quando torni trovi il profumo di freschezza e pulito che ami tanto. Abicur Revolution con formula 3 in 1.
Allora, come fate a garantire che i miei fondi saranno al sicuro? È molto semplice.
Number 7. The strangest competitions on Earth. Please imagine yourself sitting down at a wooden table in Bavaria with another opponent seated right across from you. No trash talk, no warm-up. You both slip one finger into a small leather loop. The referee signals start, and you yank with everything you have. The goal is simple. Drag your opponent's hand across the table in seconds or less. Welcome to finger wrestling, one of Germany's most painful traditional sports. Matches end fast, but dislocated fingers are common. Watching is already nerve-wracking. Competing is a whole different level of bravery. Not far behind in terms of uniqueness is the Big Nose Championship. To even qualify, contestants must meet strict measurements. For men, noses must be at least 1.6 inches wide or 2.4 inches long. For women, around 2 inches long. Winners are decided by adding length and width together. Some participants openly admit trying to make their noses look bigger before competition, with beer and cigarettes often mentioned as training tools. Whether effective or not is another story. Then comes the World Beard and Mustache Championship, held in the town of Egging am See. Competitors are judged across multiple categories, including natural beards, styled beards, and creative designs. Some beards are carefully sculpted into dramatic shapes, turning facial hair into something closer to performance art. For many, growing a beard is no longer laziness. It is preparation. In the city of Ludwigsburg, pumpkins become the main characters. Every year, more than 500,000 pumpkins are displayed in massive installations shaped like buildings, animals, and fantasy figures. The most exciting event is the pumpkin boat race, where pumpkins weighing over 220 pounds are hollowed out into one-person boats. Participants paddle across a lake in front of the palace, trying not to sink before reaching the finish line. Finally, there is the rubber duck race on the Neckar River. Each year, between 2,000 and 7,000 rubber ducks are released into the water at the same time. Participants attach their names to a duck and cheer from the riverbank. The duck that reaches the finish line first wins a prize worth around $11,000, an impressive reward for what looks like a child's bath toy. Which competition do you think you could actually win? Drop the name of that contest in the comments, and let's see who's brave enough. Number 8. Strange laws that exist only in Germany. When people think of Germany, they often imagine efficiency, precision, and strict rules. But once you look a little closer, some of those rules turn out to be surprisingly unusual. Take bathrooms, for example. In many public places and private homes across Germany, men are expected to sit down while using the toilet. This isn't about gender or tradition. It's about cleanliness and respect for shared spaces. Signs reminding men not to urinate standing up are common, and some even include illustrated instructions. There have been real court cases where tenants lost part of their security deposit because standing urination damaged marble bathroom floors. In Germany, good manners sometimes start in the restroom. That attention to order continues with something as personal as a name. In Germany, parents are not free to name their child anything they want. The government can reject names that might embarrass a child in the future, cause confusion, or fail to clearly indicate gender. Changing a rejected name later is a long and expensive process, which is why naming a baby here feels less like creativity and more like filing an official document. A name isn't just an identity, it's a legal responsibility. Then there's Sunday, a day that feels almost frozen in time. On Sundays, most shops, malls, and supermarkets across Germany are closed. The idea is simple. Sunday is for rest, family, and silence. Even making excessive noise can get you into trouble. If you disturb the peace, neighbors are legally allowed to call the police, and fines can reach around $23 US. In a country that values productivity, rest is treated as something sacred. Punctuality is another rule that Germans take seriously, sometimes to an extreme. In Germany, Being on time is not impressive, it's expected. Arriving even 1 minute late can be considered disrespectful. The saying goes, punctuality is the politeness of kings. Construction workers, technicians, and service staff will often stop working the exact second their shift ends, even if the job isn't finished. Time is not flexible here, it's contractual. And finally, there's digital life. Downloading movies or music illegally in Germany can be shockingly expensive. The country enforces copyright laws with heavy fines that can reach thousands of US dollars per file. Internet providers can easily trace activity through IP and MAC addresses, and the fine is sent to whoever signed the internet contract, not necessarily the person who clicked download. In Germany, watching a free movie can end up being one of the most expensive tickets you ever buy. If you don't watch the movie at home, you watch it in a cinema, then step outside and jump onto a highway with no speed limit. So what does that actually feel like in Germany? Number 9, the only highway with no speed limit. What would it feel like to drive on a highway where speed limit signs completely disappeared, no numbers, no warnings, just open road? That's the Autobahn in Germany, the only major highway system in the world where certain sections have no mandatory speed limit. The Autobahn stretches for roughly 8,080 miles. And while people love to joke about pushing the pedal to the floor, only about 1/4 of the network actually allows unrestricted speed. The remaining sections still have limits, especially near cities, sharp curves, construction zones, or high-risk areas, where speeds are capped at around 81 miles per hour. What makes the Autobahn even more unusual is that there are almost no toll booths for private cars. Drivers don't slow down, don't line up, and don't reach for their wallets. The system is funded indirectly through fuel taxes and vehicle ownership taxes. You just drive. The pavement is smooth, signage is crystal clear, and maintenance standards are extremely strict. German driving discipline really shows during emergencies. When there's an accident or heavy traffic, cars automatically form an emergency lane, splitting left and right to create a clear path for ambulances and rescue vehicles. No shouting, no chaos, just instinctive coordination. However, it was the practice of driving without speed limits that gave rise to a new regulation. Running out of gas is now considered a violation of the law, not just bad luck. German law classifies an empty gas tank as a preventable mistake, meaning if your car stops because you didn't refuel in time, you can be fined and blamed for disrupting traffic flow. Why so strict? Because the Autobahn is built for speed.